When you think of monster collecting video games, obviously the big candidate there is Pokémon. Pokemon just took everyone by storm when it came out in the late 90s. Pokemon was so popular, a lot of other companies had to make their own monster collecting game. The monster collecting phase that happened in the late 90s into the early 2000s was a huge boom. There were so many different game franchises and TV shows happening that were like Pokemon that were definitely kind of cool. My go-to franchise with my cousin when I was a kid was the Digimon World series, and we really liked this series, playing it all the time at our grandparents' house. Living under a rock until my 30s, there's a whole lot more stuff here on the PS1 that I've never played before until really the recent years. We're going to talk today about monster collecting games on the PS1 and just kind of a general overview of the good, the bad, and the ugly of these games. Just know this is not a must-play or best list, this is just simply going over games on this console of this genre, since they don't get light shed on them very often. Sit back, chill, grab you some popcorn, some pizza rolls. Let's go over monster collecting games on the original PlayStation. Kicking off this list is definitely a notable title for the system, and that is the Digimon World games. The Digimon World games were my first console RPGs ever when I was a child. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent on the second and third game. The first game I rented all the time when I was a kid, but I just couldn't get into this game. Playing it as an adult and learning how this game works, this game actually is pretty good. After you answer some questions, get a little bit of a guideline, get your first Digimon, you can kind of go out and explore the world a little bit. And the whole point is you raise your Digimon, you take it to the bathroom to take a shit. Your goal is to rebuild File City and find others out there to join, but you have to defeat them before they join. The cool thing about this game is you raise your Digimon, so it's taking care of it, but there's still some RPG elements with it as well, and life sim. But there's a lot of different Digimon you can get in this game, so it's kind of fun to experiment. The second and third game I played the most as a kid, but as an adult, my opinions have reversed. The second and third game are just very bland games. I would classify them as beginner RPGs. I didn't really care for the first one as a kid, but as an adult, my opinion has reversed. I think the first one's worth checking out between all the Digimon World games on this console. Definitely worth a look, especially if you're a Digimon fan. The other notable title, Monster Rancher, and there were two of these on the original PlayStation. I remember Monster Rancher. I never played these games, but me and my cousin, we had the card game on PS1, and we'd play that at our grandparents sometimes. This game is more of a life sim monster raising kind of game here. You have a lot of text boxes that start out whenever you're opening up, and you have a town you can explore, you can go here, go there. You'll be going to the ranch a lot though, and you choose a monster and you got to train them up, that way you can go to competitions to win money and become a true monster trainer. This game, like Digimon World, definitely has a learning curve to it because I had no idea what I was doing when I was playing this game for this footage. You do training to get your stats up, but then when you go to competitions, this is really where the battles take place, and they're kind of weird how they go, but I kind of like how this gameplay is, how it works. You can move your monster back and forth on the battlefield, and then you can use the attacks and do an attack sometimes, hopefully if they don't dodge. For what I saw and did, I thought it was pretty cool and very interesting. I've been wanting to visit this series for a while now, and playing this for the first time, I definitely think that I'm going to go check out these games at some point in the future. But if you want something unique on the system that's a high quality game, definitely check out the Monster Rancher series. Jade Cocoon, a game that came out in the late 90s for the PS1, and you can already tell by the art style that it looks like a Studio Ghibli film, and yep, that's correct. It's one of the artists at the time. For the most part, it's a fixed camera, turn-based RPG from how it plays, and it's got some monsters that you can get in the game, and you catch them with these nets and stuff. You can actually fuse monsters together in this game too, and they literally look how they look if they're put together. It's really cool to experiment with this, and you can keep doing it over and over again because there's a lot of different elements and abilities abilities in this game, so it's fun to experiment. It's got a little bit of a slow battle system, but it's definitely manageable and serviceable, and really fun to experiment with what you can get. It's a pretty short RPG, about 15 hours, but there is a big post-game, so if you hunger for more if playing this one, then you gotta do that. But Jade Cocoon on the PS1 is definitely a cool game to check out. Azure Dreams, another game I've reviewed in the past on this channel. This one was made by Konami, and through it is a mystery type of dungeon game where you're dungeon crawling and it's roguelite, but the big gimmick with this game is you can obtain eggs in this game and you can accrue monsters. This game is very grind heavy for sure, as many others like this one, but this one's kind of unique. Just mainly because of how the monsters you get. There's a lot of items and trivial trial and error, you know, all that stuff with these dungeon crawling type games. Your main character, every time you lose at a dungeon, you go back to level 1, your monsters stay the same, which is how you progress in this game. Whenever you start grinding up a little bit and you're taking down more enemies faster, you kind of get a good groove going on with this one, so I like this one personally. And also this game is on the Game Boy Color too, if you want to see a 2D version of this one. The most annoying thing with this game is accessibility. It's only on the PS1 and it's almost like $100 complete in box, so it's one of those loose disc purchases, unfortunately. If you like what you see though, you definitely need to check this game out any way possible. Eternal Eyes, a game that nobody talks about on this console because it's buried beneath all the other RPGs that have come out. It also doesn't help that the cover of this game looks like this, which is just so NES era. You play as this random guy and he's with this group of friends and you guys like to go exploring. Well, you guys go out exploring and on this pirate ship looking place, you find these like puppet things that you acquire, and it turns out that they're creatures, monsters. As you can see, you can use these monsters and yourself in these tactics types battles here. That's how this game plays out. And I mean, it's nothing revolutionary, but it gets the job done. It's decent. A lot of people rave on this game how it's just unoriginal and it's just no good and there's so many better RPGs. And honestly, I agree, but it's not a bad game. It's also a very affordable game. It's like $20 or so on this console complete. And I mean, at least you can use monsters in this game in a tactics game. That's kind of cool. It's not really worth going out of your way, I'd say, to play this one, but if you do find this game for cheap, I definitely would give it a look. Dragon Seeds, developed and published by Jalico. I'm surprised they're making games. I thought all they made was bases loaded. This game obviously has a theme with dragons going on, but there's a lot of creatures that look different than dragons. This game has a similar feel to how Monster Rancher is. It's kind of more of a text-heavy game where you're in a city and you kind of choose where you want to go, and you can get dragons from the cloning lab here. There's lots of different dragons you can get to, so pretty cool to experiment with that. You can enter tournaments with these guys, and you gotta get a weapon and some kind of shield before you do that, or you can't qualify. The combat with this game is just kind of like Monster Rancher. You gotta hit button commands to make them do stuff. You can make them move with the D-pad, and it's not bad, but this game definitely feels like copy and paste material. I'm sure for the people who have played this game definitely love it, but I'm just not one of those people. This game's also a little pricey on the PS1 complete, like $100 or so in the States. Personally, I don't really think it's worth going out of your way to play, but if you like Monster Rancher and you want to see more, well, here you go. Monster Seed. Yep, another game with the title Monster and Seed in it. Very creative. Brought to us by good old Sunsoft. And you start off as a nameless protagonist, and you have all these things happen. You have to fight these bad dudes, and you lose this battle. Then you go to your sister or friend's house or something like that and talk about some stuff. You acquire these seeds from this guy, and you can take him to a nursery and you can get him hatched, and you like fuse him with some potion or solution they call it, and they become some random monster that you can name whatever you want. Truly not hating the idea at all about that. The combat also is kind of like on a plane, similar to stuff like Rhapsody, A Musical Adventure, or Live Alive, and truly I'm not hating this game at all. Yeah, it comes off a little generic and just kind of puny with the graphics and stuff, but the gameplay, it's not too bad. This is one I definitely would like to check out further someday, even though the expectations are very low with this one. This game is definitely not going to win any awards, but I don't think it's a bad game at all. It's perfectly fine. If you like monster collecting games and you do like what you're seeing, we'll check this one out. And there you have it. Those are some monster collecting games on the PS1 that I wanted to show off that were on the console. Those were really the only monster collecting games I saw for the PS1 when I was looking up this stuff for the video. Japan probably has some, but I do know there's a couple games here, like this Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Breed game here, and this Dragon Quest Monsters game. It would be fantastic to see these games get a translation because Dragon Quest Monsters is a lot of fun, and man, this being on the PS1, it would just be a time. There wasn't really much for this, because I mean, most of the RPGs in the system are stuff like Final Fantasies and all that. If I had to recommend game that you should check out from this list though, I definitely would say either Monster Rancher or Digimon World, with Jade Cocoon and Azure Dreams behind those. If you've got something to say about any of the games on this list, or want to share some personal information, like what's your dog's name or something, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you got to say. Thanks for sticking around to watch this video. Until next time, y'all take it easy.